3. Hello, and welcome to the first edition of Life After High School of 2018. I am Logan Steele.
And I'm Logan Miholics.
And we are here to talk about our experiences after graduation. Logan, I want to ask you, where are you going to school, and what's your major?
I'm going to Clarion University, as a lot of last year's seniors are, and I'm majoring in computer science.
All right, I'll tell you, I'm going to Penn State in Du Bois, and my major is criminal justice.
All right.
I think one of the major things that people are most worried about whenever they move into a college environment after high school is how their classes are going to be presented.
Yeah.
And that's not really a problem at a smaller school, like in my opinion, I should say, because at Penn State Du Bois, most of the classes are conducted in a classroom environment. I can say out of the 10 classes I've taken so far, this is just the beginning of the second semester, I've only had one class in an auditorium environment.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. Like, I had 5 classes, and out of them, literally only one was in like an auditorium or big area. The other ones are classroom environments, just like here. You know?
Yeah, I think lectures would most describe in the best way I could think of what my classes have been like. I mean, there have been, small group discussions, there have been large group discussions, but there hasn't really been any worksheets in class, like work time, I guess I should say.
Yeah. It's just the professor, kind of spewing information in sort, and it's honestly, I don't think it's anything to be frightened of. Like, I heard the word lecture, and I was just like, that doesn't exactly sound, the most appeasing. But it's honestly, it's all right.
Yeah, I think the lecture really, if you're interested in the class, the lecture's it's not horrible.
Yeah, not at all.
Like for my major classes that I've taken, my Intro to Criminal Justice in the first semester, the lecture for that, it was a good hour, 15 minutes long, and I didn't mind it because it was right after lunch. Usually I went to Taco Bell and I would bring my lunch with me to that class, but it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's honestly just like making sure you keep notes and listening, and then you're good for that class, almost.
I think the only example of like an in-class assignment that I can think of that I've worked on would be in my Minerals and Modern Society class that was last semester. It was basically just a big geoscience course, and they're practically just review sheets for leading up to our midterm and then leading up to our final.
Yeah, that's one thing about like college, is that like you don't like get that much in class. You don't get any time in class really to work on anything, whether it's like, I don't know, homework assignments, or even if it's like final projects. Like, if it's a final project, you might get like a day or two in class, but that's honestly about it. You don't get much time in class. You got to set aside time for it yourself.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I've definitely experienced that. My math class in my first semester was Math 110. It was a applications of calculus class, and going into it, I didn't really expect too much because I did take AP Calculus in high school, and AP Calculus, honestly, was 10 times harder than this class ever could be.
They did you well here.
Yeah, Mrs. Carrico definitely taught the class very well, and I was very prepared for the calculus class in high school. But yeah, I had an hour lab on Fridays for that class. It was an hour lab before our 55 minutes of lecture that we usually had. So that was also a time that we took to do like a little tiny group assignment. It was basically just a page and a half of problems related to what we were working on in class, and we had the entire hour pretty much to do them.
It's like you get class time to do the things that you really don't need any class time at all to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, honestly.
Like I said, with like my criminal justice classes, with the lectures being some of my favorites, those major classes, for me at least, are some of my favorite classes. Another one of my favorite classes for this semester, I feel, is going to be my HDFS class, and it's the Intro to Human Development and Family Science. And I really feel like that's going to contribute a lot to what I want to do, because since I'm a criminal justice major, I need to know the way like people think, and the human development aspect of it would contribute to that very well.
Yeah, like with favorite classes, I feel like like for most people, it's gonna be the one that has to do with your major. Like that's the whole point. You're kind of going there almost. Like you have to get all like the like arts and other courses, but like when it comes down to it, like the most enjoyable classes are probably, and they should be, the ones related to your major. Like my favorite is Intro to Algorithm and Programming. And I did very well in that class, and it was just honestly like I had like a fun time in that class. As weird as that is to say.
Yeah, I can imagine an Intro to Algorithm course being
Right.
so much fun.
Actually,
but,
though.
Yeah, I think one of my least favorite classes that I've taken, I'd say it would have to be that Mineral and Modern Society class, because I am very bad at science in general, and whenever you throw me into a classroom environment, whenever there's 20, 25 kids in the class, the lectures can get kind of boring because nobody likes to participate in my classes. I don't know if that's true for you.
Yeah, I had a class like that, and it honestly brings down the environment.
Yeah, whenever nobody participates in the class, that's what really makes a class non-enjoyable for me. But especially with that Minerals and Modern Society class, like the only fun part of that class was the group work that we get to do at the end of each chapter, because I worked with my two friends that I met there, and it wasn't that bad, but still the class was very stressful, and I didn't have that much fun in it.
Yeah, like I had this. Most schools will have like some kind of freshman seminar class for you to take, and that was my least favorite. It was titled "Why Do I Hate What Others Love," and pretty much it was an entire class based on like people's tastes and stuff. So like, I mean, to other people it might be like a valuable class to take, like if you're in like advertisement or something or business. But like for me, like as somebody that's just gonna be like sitting behind a computer or something, like I just kind of like felt like this wasn't like worth the money I'm paying for, and that that made me angry. But I mean, I guess I understand why like you have to take like a large variety of classes, but nonetheless, I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to that thing I said about stress. That it was probably one of, if not the biggest challenge for my first semester. Also, to go along with that stress is trying to remember my online assignments that I had to turn in. Because there have been times where I have had, quizzes, papers, just little assignments due on Canvas is what we use for Penn State. It's basically our Dropbox. And I've had quizzes that I've missed because I just forget that they're up online. I've had some assignments, like they're little 5-point, 10-point assignments. It's not really a big deal, but you should still strive to want to turn those in because it's practically free points.
And that like kind of surprised me, like even the fact that like we'd use a Dropbox, like because I would hear the word college, and I like have this kind of like conventional, traditional type setting in my head, but in reality, it's very modern. They're like, like a lot of things are turned in through, like a digital format instead of like printing out like a 7-page paper or whatever and turning it in. You send it in online, which honestly kind of threw me through a loop because here we'd hand in like a paper version. It's just like I was just not used to it, and it's kind of threw me.
Yeah, I think the online aspect was definitely something that I was not prepared for fully, because in high school we had, every now and then we'd have to like share something with our teachers through Google Docs, but even if we forgot to do that, it's not like we didn't already have a hard copy turned in, and our teachers would be like, okay, yeah, just go in and share that with me real quick. In college, at least for me on Canvas, the assignment will close at exactly 11:59.
You got a time frame.
We have a certain time frame, and if that time frame closes, you cannot do anything more with the assignment. You're out of luck, basically.
Like you might get like that one teacher that's nice and will have like a late box or something for like a day after, but other than that, you're done.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that I would change here at Brookville High School would be add more online stuff.
Yeah.
That's
like I mean I didn't like I would always get mad because Google Docs would always like it would like you want to send through a paper or something, and like a teacher will be like, you didn't turn this in, and I'd be like, I'm sure I did, but I feel like we really do have to get used to being online. I don't know, maybe they are now, but like I know a lot of my stuff was turning in through paper, and it's just was different at college.
Yeah, in my experience in high school, most of the stuff I've turned in had an online or had a hard copy accompanied with it. If we had to turn something in online, we always turned in a hard copy the very next day or
You'd have
the
like that
morning of.
insurance, like
Yeah,
you have
so
that anyways.
it was a huge change for me not having to turn in as much stuff like a hard copy, which my English class and both of my math classes, they didn't do anything online, so that was kind of nice for me. I didn't have that extra sense of responsibility, I guess I should say, to know to turn stuff in. But even then, we had our full schedule laid out in front of us. So it's not like we didn't have the means of knowing when our stuff was due.
Yeah, and that's something that's nice, the syllabus, knowing
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to do, exactly what day.
Every syllabus I've gotten so far through all my classes, they always have a tentative schedule. And of course, weather permitting, that we actually get to classes.
Subject to change.
Yeah, the professor reserves the right to change the syllabus. But what about your social life? How's it been?
Whenever it came to like extracurricular stuff, like I was contemplating joining the swim team there because I was part of that in high school, but I was kind of hesitant on adding more to my plate before I was used to the college environment. I was trying to get a hand of like how like the scheduling, trying like with the commute and all that, because I commute. I like don't have a dorm, I commute. So like I'd have to try and juggle that and just like adding more stuff to that. Like my first, like the first half to my first year, I don't feel like I was ready for that. So I kind of kept it on the ground floor, so to speak.
I can relate with that. I mean, I've made, I want to say like 5, 6 like solid friends so far. I've met a bunch of other people and I'm acquaintances with a bunch of people, but those 5 or 6 like solid friends, they've been my rock pretty much. If there's something that we wanted to do on campus, off campus, we'd go and do it. Like I remember back at the beginning of the first semester, there was a luau bowling night that they held at the Du Bois bowling alley. And we were so pumped for this bowling night. Like, we love bowling. We haven't been bowling in years before that, so we were pumped for it. And we get there, and there weren't as many people there as I expected. There was only like I want to say like 75, 80 people there, and like that's not a lot compared to how many you would expect to go from a college event. But even still, like, that's just one of the extracurricular activities I've been in. Back in, I think it was September, you and I went to that Penn State game, the Penn State Nittany Lions football game.
That was a good one.
That was a fun time. That kind of put into perspective some of the extracurricular and social experiences that we're missing out on, because I also commute. But that just put it into perspective, like all this extra stuff that goes on behind the scenes of a living on campus life. I feel like we're missing out, but
yeah, there definitely is like a part of it that you miss out on by not having a dorm. Even like we both go to campuses that are only 30 minutes away, so it'd be not exactly the smartest choice to get a dorm, but like you will miss out on some parts of the college life. Not all of them. It's not like you can't have a social life. Like I did make a couple friends, believe it or not, but like it's just, you're gonna miss out some. So like, if you're ever thinking about should I get a dorm or commute, just kind of like take that into factor.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But one thing that has prevented me from doing some extracurricular activities has been my financial situation, which I do have a job. I work down at the Opera House Cafe.
We work together.
Yeah, we work together on Main Street in Brookville. I wait tables mostly, so I'm kind of living off of tips. Every once in a blue moon I cook, but that is very rare. But I think working or living off of tips is not my ideal way of going through college, just because...
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. There's nothing really going into my bank account, because off of paychecks, I get, $6, $7, $8 off of paychecks. And it's not very good going into your bank account whenever you have a car payment, a phone payment every month.
Yeah, and then like at the beginning of the semester, you got to pay that tuition bill, and it's just like that huge number. It's like,
Yeah, it's difficult managing finances whenever you're not really, well, for one, not getting as many hours as you like, and not getting paid as much as you like. I've in the past, I think week, I've blown through like $140. So yeah, the financial situation isn't too bad, but it's not great.
Yeah.
But all right.
It's something you should. It's something you should prepare for.
Yeah,
like, you
definitely.
should save up.
All right. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you, Logan, for coming in to talk.
Hey, thank you.
And yeah, this has been the first edition of Life After High School.